In the final years of the Qing dynasty, in the early years of the Republic of China, there lived a father and a son, I Shun-ting and I Chün-tso, who aroused innumerable educated men and women with their patriotic zeals and stirred countless literary men and women with their lyrical flairs. The father, I Shun-ting, lived in a time when China was being partitioned by foreign powers, when the country was nearly ravaged and crushed. The son, I Chün-tso, lived in a time when mainland China fell to the communists, when cultural lineage was almost obliterated. The experiences of father and son are of course different, but their despair and anguish are nonetheless identical. The country crumbled. Tears were shed endlessly. The theme and imagery of their writings are very much alike. I Shun-ting was born in 1858 and died in 1920. His father, I Pei-sen, Hu-shan, held the positions of Surveillance Commissioner of Guizhou Province, Provincial Administration Commissioner of Sichuan, and Provincial Administration Commissioner of Jiangsu. I Shun-ting used the zi of Shih-fu, Chung-shih, Shou-fu, Chung-shuo. He named his studio Changji-lou, Qing-zi-lou. He used many hall, Mei-ch'ieh, Kuang-hsü, Yi-an. He was a native of Longyang in Hunan province. He attained the chü-jen degree in the first year of the Kuang-hsü reign, 1875, and was appointed director of the Ministry of Justice, expectant circuit censor, lecturer at Liang-hu College in Wu-han of Hupeh province, circuit censor of Qinglian in Guangdong province, circuit censor of Kao-chou, Lei-chou and Yang-chiang in Guangdong province. During the Republican era, he was appointed Counselor of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, Substitute Director of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, and was a member of the Candidate Eligibility Review Committee. He had three sons, Chia-fu, Chia-yüeh, and Chia-chu. Chia-yüeh used the zi of Chün-tso and was commonly known by this name. I Shun-ting wrote many volumes of work, such as the Anthology of Four Souls, collection of works by Kuang-hsü, collection of works from Qing-zi-lou, and others. In the 20th year of the Kuang-hsü reign, 1894, at the age of 37, I Shun-ting composed an essay titled Autobiography of Kuang. The year before, his mother passed away. A section of the essay reads, "For a period of over 20 years in my life, I was a child prodigy, then a gifted poet. Afterwards, I became a heavy drinker, a knight errant. In my youth, I was a celebrated literatus, a scholar of the classics, a man of letters, an eminent official, a hermit. Suddenly going eastward, suddenly going westward, suddenly leaving, suddenly staying, teachers and friends tease me as the magic dragon. My behavior is erratic. I can follow Confucius, I can follow Mo-zi. I seem rude, I seem mellow. I cannot be described by simplistic demeanor. My writings are the same. It can be classical, it can be contemporary, it can be simple, it can be rich. It cannot be assessed on simplistic facet." This is a sketch of the eccentric poet. However, a child prodigy and a gifted poet are not boastful words. The poetry critic Chen Yan, in the early Republican era, claimed in a collection of modern poetry, Conversations on Poetry from Shi Studio, When I Shun-ting was a child, he was known as a child prodigy. When he grew up, he acquired the reputation of a talented poet. He further claimed he was curious about all academic studies, such as textual research, economics, rhythmic prose, poetry, and lyrics. He wrote nearly 10,000 poems in his lifetime. Together with the Provincial Administration Commissioner Fan Zhenxiang, they are called the two titans of literature. In the 6th year of the Kuang-hsü reign, 1880, when I Shun-ting was 23 years old, he paid his respects to the Minister of Justice, Pan Zu-ying. Pan said to him, "I once read the poetry scroll you submitted, known as Xing-juan. Your literary prowess is astounding. I have long been an admirer." Pan then told the other directors in his ministry, I Shun-ting wielded a brush that surpasses those before him and those after him. Indeed, many high officials were infatuated with his writings, which were also ardently passed around by those in the literary world. In his old age, he commissioned a seal that was engraved with these words: "A child prodigy at 5, cultivations accumulated in 6 lives. The Anthology of Four Souls, footprints on top of 10 mountains." Autobiography of Kuang further says, Kuang thought it was possible to cry about everything in the world, yet somehow he did not manage to cry. Even when his wife and son passed away, he did not manage to cry. When his mother passed away, he still had his father. Kuang reckoned he should not hastily follow her. He then realized there's nothing to cry about in the world, except for not ever seeing his mother. Subsequently, there is not a day he does not cry. He swears he will cry to the very end, till death. So he adopted the hall of Kuang, meaning the crying hermitage. This is powerful emotion derived from the purest form of filial piety, its utmost manifestation. After the death of his mother, I Shun-ting built a hut next to the tomb to cry. He collected his writings from the 3-year mourning period and published them under the title Miscellaneous Printing from Mu Gao Studio. He then adopted the hall of Kuang. His mother's surname was Chen, and she was known for her virtues. She was the daughter of Chen Yonghao, the district magistrate of Chia-yüeh. A pair of memorial couplets from the local gentry were hung at her funeral. The words were, "A revered mother of the world, a worthy sage among women." On 1st July, in the 20th year of the Kuang-hsü reign, corresponding to 1st August 1894, China declared war on Japan. I Shun-ting complied with his father's instruction to join the war, even though he was still adhering to the mourning period for his mother. I Shun-ting was ready and even determined to die on the battlefield, so he composed a farewell poem to my dear brother, sisters, and wives. He first traveled to Nanking to visit Liu Kun-yi, Governor General of Jiangnan and Jiangxi provinces, who also held the position of Superintendent of the Naval Ministry. Then he traveled to Tianjin to visit Li Hongzhang, Governor General of Zili. At the end of the year, he arrived in Peking to submit a memorial to the throne to oppose the peace agreement. The petition was rejected by the throne from the outset. In the following year, the Chinese Beiyang fleet was destroyed by the Japanese Navy. On 23rd March in the 21st year of the Kuang-hsü reign, corresponding to 17th April 1895, the Treaty of Ma Guan was ratified. China had to pay war indemnity of 200 million Kuping taels, and the territories of Taiwan and Liaodong Peninsula were ceded to Japan. Yu Shun-ting marched hastily from Tangshan to Peking. He submitted a memorial to beseech the court to abandon the treaty and dismiss the treacherous officials. The petition was again swiftly rejected. On 2nd May in the 21st year of the Kuang-hsü reign, corresponding to 25th May 1895, the people in Taiwan refused to become Japanese subjects. They established the Republic of Taiwan, adopting Yongqing as reign, and elected the governor of Taiwan, Tang Jing-song, as president. Yi Shun-ting telegraphed Liu Kunyi and volunteered to join the army. On 29th May, corresponding to 21st June 1895, he arrived in Tainan. He met Liu Yongfu, regional commander of Taiwan, and was assigned the positions of Commander General of 3 battalions, Counselor of Office of Military Affairs. By then, Keelung and Taipei had fallen. Yi Shun-ting composed a set of 6 poems titled Broodings in Taiwan, commending Taiwanese resistance against Japanese occupation. Some lines are: which road at Jade Gate points to life, dreamingly aggress the world for good. A letter has crossed the great divide. Natives bide on cloud-capped peaks. A few zealots swear to recover this land, passing tattooed tribesmen on the way. Still so remote from my old abode, too ashamed there's nothing I can do. Such devout subjects on this faraway island, truthful to 2 centuries of royal favor, here to fight for emperor and for fair rule, tearful, none too virtuous, is here to serve. Who can forget the battles of chivalrous knights, each enthralled by Cathay's garb and turf, crying over Zhuya, once territory of Han? Chang'e shouted, "We citizens of Zhou." On 17th Leap May, corresponding to 3rd July 1895, Yi Shun-ting traveled to Nanking to visit Zhang Zidong, Governor General of Jiangnan and Jiangxi provinces. He failed to convince Zhang to raise money for an army. On 27th July, corresponding to 15th September 1895, he voyaged to Taiwan for the 2nd time, arriving in Tainan 2 days later. By then, Taichung had already fallen. On 6 August, he returned to mainland China to raise money and received a petition from the loyalists in Taiwan who nominated him Vice President of the Republic of Taiwan. In late August, Japanese army attacked Tainan. In early September, Tainan fell and the whole of Taiwan was occupied. He then returned to Wuchang. In the 22nd year of the Kuang-hsü reign, or 1896, he published the Anthology of Four Souls. The first edition is now hard to find. Approximately 20 years ago, I acquired nearly 100 pages of handwritten manuscript by Yi Shun-ting. There's a page titled Letter to Thank the President of the Bureau of Historia Qing, from which we learned that he was once invited to join the Bureau, but he tactfully declined. The letter reads, I received the letter of appointment yesterday, and I am so undeserving of your behest. I have been allowed to tag my unworthy name to the world of scholarship, through which I promptly gained academic stature. I humbly reply to your eminent self, President Shih-fu. A junior scholar leads a leisurely life. A high official can lead a perilous life, like the Grand Chancellor of the Yuan dynasty, Tuo. In early Qing, there was Zhu Ziyu, and in late Ming, there was Chung-shih. I remember in earlier times, I used to watch the full moon from Pavilion Genliang in Wuchang and enjoyed contemplating the lotus pond in the government house. For a long time, I indulged myself in unworldly realm, unperturbed by formal ceremonies. No matter what kind of official appointment, it is no more noteworthy than the court documents propagating Confucianism in the Qianwu reign of the Han dynasty. No matter whether one is in the south or in the north, there is literary selections by Prince Zhao Ming, and on the equality of all things by Zhuangzi. I am ashamed that manuscripts of my trivial writings have mostly been eaten by insects and rats, while my chronicles of new knowledge are full of errata. Yang-hu of the Qing dynasty kept a crane that could not flap its wings. Just like the crane, I will follow you earnestly despite my shortcomings. Records of the Grand Historian by Sima Qian is an offering to heaven, far superior to staying in Zhounan and achieving nothing. In the third year of the Republic of China, 1914, the State Council established the Bureau of Historia Qing. A wide circle of eminent scholars were invited to compile the history of Qing dynasty. This letter was addressed to President Zisan, whose original name was Zhao Erxun, born in 1844 and died in 1927. His zi was Cisan, Hou, Gongxiang, Wu-bu, native of Tieling in Fengtian province. He belonged to the Han Martial Plain Blue Banner. He attained the Jingsi degree in the 13th year of the Tongzhi reign, 1874, and was appointed compiler and editor of the Hanling Academy. He held the successive positions of Surveillance Commissioner of Anhui Province, Provincial Administration Commissioner of Xinjiang Province, Provincial Administration Commissioner of Shanxi Province, Provincial Governor of Shanxi Province, Provincial Governor of Hunan Province, Minister of the Ministry of Revenue, Governor General of Hupeh and Hunan Provinces, Governor General of Sichuan Province, and Governor General of Liaoning, Jilin, and Heilongjiang Provinces. After the revolution, he was appointed President of the Bureau of Historia Qing for 13 years. I Shun-ting died in the 9th year of the Republic of China, 1920, so this letter would have been written between the 3rd year and the 9th year of the Republic of China, 1914 to 1920. The Bureau of Historia Qing engaged the services of many eminent scholars. However, the name of I Shun-ting has never appeared in the lists of chief editors and assistant editors. Having the good fortune to acquire this letter, we are able to learn more of his life story. In the 43rd year of the Republic of China, 1954, the 5th year after the fall of mainland China to the Communists, which also happened to be the 60th year or one Jiazi calendar cycle after the First Sino-Japanese War. I Chün-tso, son of I Shun-ting, was a refugee in Hong Kong. He looked back to his homeland with anguish and sorrow, not any less than his father, even in excess of his father. He published the book The Heart heart-wrenching tale of the Anthology of Four Souls. It is a full chronicle of his father's visits to Taiwan and his attempts to save the country. Part of his preface reads, "In my 30 years of writing, there are only two works, The Siege of Hanzhong and the heart-wrenching tale of the Anthology of Four Souls, that I exerted colossal effort, applied fervent passion, implemented a literary thrust that resembled the roar of Yangtze River or the thunder of Yellow River. On the basis of the acknowledged history of our time, I probed widely and quoted extensively. From the utmost depths of my sincere and pious heart, I composed these two painful and tearful tales. Though these two works are about my grandfather and father, they are also depictions of all loyal, courageous, compassionate, loving, intelligent, sagacious individuals. Though these two works are short and inconsequential family stories, they can be seen as encapsulations of a selected chapter in our long and towering history. The 18th chapter of the heart-wrenching tale of the Anthology of Four Souls is titled An Epic Historical Poem, The Anthology of Four Souls. Some selected passages are: Here, I have to insert this celebrated epic historical poem by my father. The emblematic work of poetry in my father's whole life is the Anthology of Four Souls. Like gold, like jade, each word is precious. It was a time of national calamity. Japan came out victorious in the First Sino-Japanese War. China had to pay indemnity and ceded her territories. Humiliations followed humiliations. For a poet to confront such an era, how could he not be enraged and mournful? The Anthology of Four Souls includes the Anthology of Northern Soul, the Anthology of Eastern Soul, the Anthology of Southern Soul, the Anthology of Returning Soul. There is no such chapter as the Anthology of Western Soul. However, there is a supplementary chapter titled The Anthology of Sea Soul. To conclude in one brief sentence, they are calling for the soul. What soul are they calling? At the time, my father was mourning the death of his mother. He wished to enact his filial duty, guard his mother's tomb for 3 years, and then just die. Unexpectedly, the First Sino-Japanese War broke out. His father asked him to join the war despite the mourning period. He only wished to be a martyr in the battlefield, to complete his duties to family and country. The soul he was calling was, of course, not his own soul, but the soul of the nation. The soul of the nation had been lost. He shouted at the top of his voice to call it back. The Anthology of Northern Soul and the Anthology of Eastern Soul are collections of poetry that were composed in the 2 years of Jia-wu and Yi-wei, corresponding to 1894 and 1895. They are vivid depictions of the First Sino-Japanese War. The Anthology of Southern Soul consists of all the poems about joining the war effort. Some are grand and majestic. The Anthology of Returning Soul consists of poems written after his return to mainland China from Taiwan. This is the chronological outline of these chapters. About 30 years ago, I bought a 1959 edition of the Anthology of Four Souls in a second-hand bookshop in Taipei. I posted it to my father, Mr. Xing An, original name Song Xun-lun, thinking he would be interested. There's an afterword written by I Chün-tso at the end of the book. Some paragraphs are, I have long harbored the glorious ambition to compile a book with the works of my grandfather, Mr. Hu-shan, Hall of Yi-pei-sen, my father, Mr. Shih-fu, Zi of I Shun-ting, and my uncle, Mr. You-fu. It will be known as the complete works of the three Yi. An appendix will be attached at the back, containing the poetry and prose of my aunt, Miss Yu. In the last few decades, countries of the world have been at war with each other. Our motherland continues to suffer many calamities. My family embarked on a tortuous journey and ended up as refugees, while I have been distressed, dejected, and drained. Time passes by only too quickly, and now my ambition is still not fulfilled. I have not been able to carry out my filial duty. Truly, 100 deaths cannot make remedy. When I was young, I learned propriety from my elders, along with poetry and prose. When I was older, I read Chinese and Western classics extensively. Meantime, visiting many famous mountains and magnificent rivers. I feel so blessed that I have not deserted my family heritage. Now I am gradually turning old, undeservingly attached to some fleeting renown. It is difficult for a son of a poet to practice poetry. I live away from my homeland in the last 10 years. My lament is deeper than ever, while the meter of my poetry becomes finer. Letters from fellow diaspora inquiring after my well-being flooded in. How would I dare to practice poetry? I only hope to share my ancestors' works as inspirations for creative writing. Friends old and new frequently ask for copies of my ancestors' works, in particular, the Anthology of Four Souls, a work so distinct in history that people are all too eager to get hold of it. Subsequently, I have decided to print the Anthology of Four Souls first, to popularize it and to promote poetry education. Leafing through the book, the publisher's name is nowhere to be found on the copyright page at the back, nor elsewhere. This is clearly a self-published book. I Chün-tso wrote a concise advertisement on the copyright page. It says, if orders from our fellow overseas diaspora are to be received, please contact the Yi household on the 4th floor, number 49, Kaiming Street, Ma Tou Wei Road, Kowloon, Hong Kong. My father inscribed some words next to the advertisement. This was where I Chün-tso lived. Having endured distress, agony, and impoverishment, notwithstanding, I Chün-tso was fearful that his father's poetry would be neglected and forgotten. He labored to reprint the Anthology of Four Souls. It was an act of pure love from the depths of his heart. The filial piety that his father enacted was likely an inspiration for the descendants too. I Chün-tso had a small seal carved with the words, "A poet's son." Unsurprisingly, his calligraphy style is akin to his father's. After his father died, he continued the spiritual connection with his father in another world through literature and art. My father, Mr. Xing-an, later inscribed the title page of the 1959 edition of the Anthology of Four Souls, which I bought for him. The words are, the Four Souls are Northern Soul, Eastern Soul, Southern Soul, and Returning Soul. Many literary and historical allusions are used. This style is unique among poets past and present. His zi was Kuang-hsü, for he lost his mother when young. He regarded this as his lifelong affliction. His pious thoughts were indeed touching. In the 19th year of the Kuang-hsü reign, 1893, when I Shun-ting was 36 years old, he lost his mother. His extensive writings mourning his mother's death easily created the impression that she died when he was young. My father inscribed more commentaries on the inside pages, some on printing errors, some his own literary insights. If future generations ever come across this inscribed copy, they will likely find many inspirations. I Chün-tso was born in 1899 and died in 1972. His original name was Yue, 字君佐, 号义元, 靖斋. His nom de plume were Youjun, 二郎神, 康陶文, 花溪, 空谷三人, native of Longyang in Hunan province. In the 5th year of the Republic of China, 1916, he went abroad to Japan to study at Waseda University. In the 7th year of the Republic, 1919, he enrolled at Peking University. He was successively appointed advisor to the provincial government of Hunan province, Major General Committee member of the No. 3 Chamber of the Political Department of the Nationalist Government Military Affairs Commission, and Commissioner of the Ministry of Information of the Chinese Nationalist Party. He was extremely fond of poetry and prose. At one time, he published a book titled Small Talk on Yangzhou, which instigated the residents of Yangzhou into vehement protest. After the fall of mainland China to the communists in 1949, he eventually made his way to Hong Kong. He held the positions of professor at Hong Kong Liang-hu College, chief editor of the literary supplement of Xingdao Daily, professor and chair of the Department of Chinese Literature at Hong Kong Baptist College, director and head of publishing at the Hong Kong branch of Penn International. In the 58th year of the Republic, 1969, he relocated to Taiwan and was appointed professor at Fu-shan College of the National Defense University. He wrote profusely and was proficient in calligraphy as well as painting. I Chün-tso first arrived in Hong Kong in the winter of 1949. 8 years later, in August 1957, between 8th and 14th, he participated in an art exhibition titled Joint Exhibition of Calligraphy and Painting by 10 Friends, held at the Hong Kong Gallery of Books and Art. These 10 friends were all emigre artists who fled communist China, namely Chen Xuelü, Wu Zisen, Yi Junzuo, Zheng Keduan, Wang Sizhao, Zhao Jietang, Huang Yao, Zheng Houxi, Lin Qiansi, and Lin Dayong. Yi Junzuo contributed an article titled A Song for 10 Calligraphy and Painting Friends, which was printed at the back of the catalogue. The first paragraph and the last paragraph read: First paragraph, flee to far shore from great turmoil, bear the burden of rise and fall. No snow is here in southern winter, just some bamboo, prunus, and pine. Songs are meant to fight the tyrant. Prose will flow when land is free. Ashamed to paint scraps of nation left, don the garb of hermit bygone. By chance, some whims have taken me here, whereby I settle my body and heart. Last paragraph. Legacy is not based on art alone. Be gallant and upright in the storm. Be steadfast in boom and doom. Dread to match the virtuous past. For the world to sway our way, let the new self redeem the old. Spurn the lowly mayfly cicada life. Gaze at motherland in teary eyes. Fog and cloud are hard to tell. Poetry, calligraphy, and painting, surely not the three paragons. Surely virtue, deeds, and words. Surely loyal heart, ardent blood, spare head. Words such as great turmoil, rise and fall, upright in the storm, loyal heart, and others, all are laden with lofty aspirations and purposes. I have kept a number of calligraphy scrolls by I Chün-tso, two of which are particularly melancholic and touching. The first poetry scroll was inscribed with these words in running script. Parting dream, heavy like bitter tea, untold mountains in cloud and dusk, rustic abode at end of world, Chung-shih now Hong Kong dubbed homes. Evening rain fills the autumn heart, awaken to lonesome sunset city, wait in vain for battle cry of crossing, behead the snake even with broken wrist. A poem of miscellaneous sentiments. Autumn of Bing Wu Year. I Chün-tso wrote this in Kowloon. Bing Wu Year is the 55th year of the Republic of China, 1966, the 17th year after the fall of mainland China. The second poetry scroll was inscribed with these words in running script. A leaf adrift in infinity, I am this freedom boat. What is most precious? Just this word freedom. These words were inscribed for a painting for the rectifications of Wen-jie in the winter of Gen-shü year, I Chün-tso. Gen-shü is the 59th year of the Republic of China, 1970, the 21st year after the fall of mainland China. I Chün-tso relocated to Taiwan in the 58th year of the Republic of China. This calligraphy would have been written in Taipei. To be in the middle of a national catastrophe, how can one respond? To be loyal to country and pious to parents, how many can attain both? I Shun-ting and I Chün-tso both invigorated the concept of filial piety, perpetuated the practice of loyalty, wielded their mighty brushes, and impacted their worlds with impassioned writings. To fortify moral bearing in turbulent times, to unite knowledge with action, to write literary works relevant to the times, the father and son duo had set tall benchmarks.